Thanks for joining me for this edition of the Author's Corner, brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM, The Word. I'm Roberta Foster. And today I welcome Terri J. Haynes back to Author's Corner, and she has written the book The Daughter of Shiloh, which is published by Barbour Publishing, and she'll tell you more about how to find the books at the end of the program. Here's a little bit about Terri. She is a native Baltimorean, is a homeschool mom, writer, prolific knitter, freelance graphic artist, and a wife. She is a storyteller at heart, and she is the 2010 American Christian Fiction Writers Genesis Contest finalist and a 2012 semifinalist. She is also a 2013 Amazon Breakthrough Novel Award quarterfinalist. And her publishing credits include Cup of Comfort for Military Families, Crosswalk.com, and others. And so with this book, it is a little different in that published by Barbour Publishing, it's part of a series of books called the Enduring Hope series, and it follows stories of fictional characters who experienced real-life man-made disasters from American history. So, Terri, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So as you were contacted by Barbour Publishing, did they assign you this particular story or just gave you some guidelines on what they wanted you to write about?
Yeah, they gave me guidelines. They sent a list of possibilities. And so I when I got the list, I kind of went through and did like a cursory glance at each disaster, and the Shiloh Baptist Church was the one that resonated with me.
Well, I read the book and was very drawn into your story. And, of course, well, for me, I had not heard of this. I'm not a big fan of history, so I really like historical novels.
Okay.
And so I was drawn into this. What a heartbreaking story, because the actual fire is true history, correct?
The Stampede, yes, it is.
Okay, so why don't you give us a little background on your story?
My story involves two Tuskegee students, Lealie and Milton, who are finishing their studies at Tuskegee, and it's I have to tell this, this is the fictional part, and this is the real part. So that's the fictional part, those two characters. The real part is Booker T. Washington spoke at Shiloh Baptist Church the day of the disaster. And so Lealie and Milton are going to Birmingham for different reasons. Booker T. Washington invites Milton because he is from Birmingham, and Lealie is going to request a scholarship to Howard from the Negro Baptist Convention, who regularly each year their convention gave out scholarships. So they get there, and then the Stampede happens right after Booker T. Washington's speech. And they are both injured in different ways, and they have to work through their healing and their pivot while trying to solve a murder mystery.
Right, we don't want to give too much away. But
don't give too much away.
I found it interesting that in the story, there were two different types of goals for the different students. And one of them, they had to do with the teaching philosophy of two different people. I don't know if that is actual fact or if that's part of what you wrote in the fictional narrative of the story.
No, that's actual fact. Booker T. Washington was very much what we would consider a vocational proponent for education, and W.E.B. Du Bois was very much a classical education proponent. What is interesting about these two men is, in the public, they very much seem to be at odds with each other. But behind the scenes, they funded and supported each other's endeavors without the public knowing. So if you read historical documents, or in particular newspapers, it seems that there is a clash between the two men. But they both agreed that post-slavery, formerly enslaved people needed education. So they both agreed on that. It's just how. And now, hindsight being 2020 in modern times, we can see very clearly that both are needed. Yes, they had two different philosophies.
Yeah. Okay, so Terri, obviously you've done research for this story. And so while researching, did you come across anything that blessed you personally?
Yeah, lots of little things. I think more than anything was the resilience. Sometimes when you research, particularly Black history, that's a theme. That's an ongoing theme. But the one of the pastors of Shiloh Baptist Church actually wrote a book about the disaster, and so that was my first bit of research, and it was very, very helpful because very often I can't find the resources I need because no one preserved them.
Okay.
So to have this book to read and just listening and reading and seeing how the community really pulled together to care for the injured people. So because it was a missionary Baptist convention, they had delegates coming from all over the country to come to the convention. So when those delegates were injured, people just put them up in their houses, just like in the story. Just come to the house. I've got a spare bedroom. We're going to take care of you. Everybody who didn't take in a delegate or a person provided funds, provided resources, food, whatever was needed to care for it. And then there was money set aside to bury anyone who was not identified. Because in that time period, we didn't carry driver's license and IDs. So there were people who were unidentified. And so there was even funds set aside for that. So I was just really blessed that when you look at history and you look at people going through hard times, it kind of puts a perspective in for your personal hard times in the modern times to say, look, if they can do this with less resources than I have, then I can overcome whatever challenges I have in the modern day.
Great. Okay, well, we have more to talk about with Terri J. Haynes regarding her book, The Daughter of Shiloh. It's published by Barbour Publishing, and you're listening to Author's Corner, and I'm Roberta Foster. As you mentioned, it was regarding a Baptist convention, and so as I'm reading through the story, the faith of the characters is also involved. And so tell us a little bit more about how the faith of the characters grew and changed through this trial.
Well, okay, so it's not in my bio that you read, but I pastored in different positions for different demographics for about 25 years.
Okay.
So I got a chance to write this from almost a pastoral perspective. I looked at them as if these two people were in my church and this had happened to them, what would be a healthy way to move them forward?
Wow.
Of course, I'm a believer, so I don't have to. Some people say, how did you infuse it? I don't know how not to take it out. Like,
there you go.
I'm a believer. I gave my life to Christ when I was 8, so I don't know how to take it out. So that was very, very organic, but just that perspective of saying, how do I pastor these two people through this story? So most of my stories, I find myself leaning on that, pastoring them through. But the other thing I wanted to make sure that I highlighted, yes, this is a fictional book, but I wanted to give readers an opportunity to see a realistic process. When something happens that you did not anticipate, what is a more realistic view of how you get over it? And sometimes we don't always have all the answers. I feel like I ended the book with an answer, but not all the answers.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to move forward with an answer versus all the answers. And I feel like people have a hard time pivoting simply because of that, because they don't know how to move forward with the answer. It's like, what do I know right now? Like, yes, this could happen. Yes, we could do this. But what do I know right now? And I feel like I ended the book with the two, Milton and Lealie, doing what they knew and leaving the rest to be answered later.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I also enjoyed the fact that you had almost two different unpleasant scenarios, the father situation and then the convention situation, and yet tied them together. I just really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the book. It went through my reading time very quickly. So, but that was kind of neat too. That it brought some past pain and some current pain into the storyline, and like you said, you pastored these two individuals through this so that they could heal. Excellent writing.
Thank you so much. Look, that's what we like to hear. This book was hard to write, though. I will say that. This book was very hard to write, because I was personally pivoting in a similar way that the characters were pivoting. Oh. And there were days where I would have to, get up from the computer and go get a hug from my family. It was, I can say I put my heart into this because I was just kind of working out my own, as we say in my household, working out my own soul salvation in the process of helping them move forward. It's like, no, how would you move forward too, Terry? How will you've hit what looks like the dead end in something? How will you move forward? So it was challenging to write. It was. So I'm glad to hear that my my pain is blessing somebody.
Well, and isn't that the way things are supposed to be? We have our own trials. The Lord brings us through them. Verse in 1 Corinthians, I think, He allows us to go through these things so that we may comfort others as they need to be comforted.
Yes.
And so the Lord doesn't waste a trial.
No, He does not. And He'll use it again. He's like, look, remember this, because you'll see this on the test again.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what was something else that really blessed you as you were putting your characters together?
Well, and I'm going to attempt to get through this. My grandfather was a missionary Baptist pastor.
Okay.
I found that out in the process of writing this book.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I called my father, who just passed recently, which is why I said I'm going to try and get through this. I called him and said, hey, Daddy, Granddad was a missionary Baptist church. My father was able to fill in sort of the personal excitement. What I was missing from the delegates coming into the convention is the excitement. Like, it was a big deal.
Okay.
So I'm reading text and words and newspaper articles and minutes from Baptist conventions, but my dad was able to put into the excitement of how it personally felt to get chosen as a delegate. He told me that he could remember as a child all the conversations in his household about who from the church was going to get picked to go and be a delegate. Yeah, that was personally meaningful.
Absolutely. I mean, you're bringing tears to my eyes as I think about the Lord's timing in this, that you were writing this book so that you could talk to your dad to get the personal history. Yeah,
and I'm glad he was able to kind of provide that for me. He was very proud of me as a writer. So it's a happy memory amongst all of this grieving. It's a happy memory that he was proud of me, and he told me he was. So,
Absolutely. Well, our time together is coming to an end. So, Terri, tell our listeners how they can find out more about the Daughter of Shiloh. And if you want to, if there's something that you're working on next, let us know about that too.
Well, you can find it everywhere you buy books. So that's the great thing. You want a book? It is actually Excitement, also an audiobook. So if you want to get an audiobook, it's available in audiobook format everywhere you buy books. I'm working on some things, and let's hope that they are going to work in the way that I want them to work. I can't talk about it. I am working on some things.
Okay.
Hopefully some more historical fiction.
Yeah.
Because apparently I can't get away from that.
Your readers are happy about that.
I hope so. I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like historical fiction chose me.
So one more time, the book today is called The Daughter of Shiloh. It is part of the Enduring Hope series. This is book 3, and it's published by Barbour Publishing. And we certainly thank them for providing us a copy of the book. And Terri, it's been a delight talking with you today. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
And to our listeners, if you missed any part of today's interview or would like to hear it again, you can now find it on your favorite podcast platform or through kneo.org. So thank you for tuning in. This is Roberta Foster on the Author's Corner. Join me again next time.